Kendo Podcast episode 170. In this episode, I want to talk about, is it true that non-Japanese people cannot understand Kendo?
Kendo Podcast by Hiro Mafuji from Kendo-Guide.com. Thank you for listening. This podcast is about Japanese martial arts Kendo for Kendo lovers and supported by Kendo enthusiasts through Patreon.com. Thank you for your support, guys. Please visit Kendo-Guide.com for more Kendo information and how to support Kendo-Guide.com.
Welcome to Kendo Podcast episode 170. Now, before I talk about it, I just want to make sure that I wanted to conclude that Zanshin is etiquette. So I really think that Zanshin is not the only criteria to get a valid cut. It's an etiquette. Both striker who's striking and kakarite and who got hit, right? So if you lose, you also need to take Zanshin, because we are not killing each other. We are trying to improve ourselves through Kendo, so we both have to take Zanshin as an etiquette, conclude. So that's my opinion at the moment about Zanshin. Now, I'm going to talk about this very sensitive subject that, non-Japanese people don't understand Kendo. Sometimes on my YouTube channel, there are such comments too. They're not; those are not probably Japanese people. Sometimes they go, "Oh, finally, not Japanese people teaching how to do Kendo properly," or something like that. If it's only that's okay. But I want to mention that it's not because I'm Japanese I understand Kendo, I do things better than any other people, non-Japanese people. I happened to learn Kendo from those traditional Kendo sensei when I was a kid. So I have knowledge, okay? And then I have learned all different types of things and up until now. And my teachers are not all Japanese people. My teachers are non-Japanese people as well. So this is completely, this argument is completely pointless. And it's not because Japanese. It's not because non-Japanese. It's nothing to do with being Japanese. For example, and I talked about Zanshin in the last episode, so that's why this reminds me of something that I heard from my very close friend, and I have to apologize. My asthma is acting up, so I'm recording this before I'm taking off to Midwest summer camp, and I was going to do the summer camp podcast, but I wasn't too sure I could do it because my asthma is still there. So I hope I see some of Patreon's members at the camp. But anyway, and so if I cough a lot, I'm sorry. That's why. From my close friend, that because you're not Japanese, you cannot do proper shimpan. That's rubbish, right? That's totally rubbish. I see a lot of people, Japanese people, cannot do shimpan as well. Basic shimpan. I'm not talking about world-class shimpan, just basic shimpan, right? It's nothing to do with being Japanese at all. If you're good at Shia, it doesn't mean that makes you good shimpan, right? And a lot of people cannot do shimpan, Japanese people, right? Because they are lacking experience, so it's totally different story. Kendo, like, we all know about Alex Bennett, sensei, I should say. So, he teaches Japanese people about Budo, martial arts, because that's his specialty. He understands, and not only academic wise, he understands. He lived in Japan probably longer than I have. I have been outside of Japan probably longer than I lived in Japan. So I am kind of, to most of Japanese people, I am non-Japanese. I look Japanese, I talk Japanese, but probably I don't act like a Japanese person anymore. I'm not too sure, right? But anyway, so I might think like Japanese, and also I think like non-Japanese too. But anyway, so I understand both perspectives, but this particular thought, like, oh, non-Japanese people don't understand Kendo. No, it's not true. So, it doesn't matter what your nationality is. That is completely wrong. Okay, so if you want to talk about, if let's say you're American and you see a lot of YouTube videos who has a sword and they don't have proper skills, and then you want to complain about them, that's fine. But it's not because they're American they don't know how to use sword, because they never learned how to use swords, right? So, and then if they never learned how to do proper Kendo, they won't know. And they start teaching and they start broadcasting wrong stuff. That is the problem. It's nothing to do with being non-Japanese or Japanese, period. So I don't want anyone to think, not all Japanese are great Kendoists. I don't think I'm a great Kendoist. I just have a passion to share my knowledge. My knowledge was from my sensei, my senseis and other senseis, and also non-Japanese senseis, right? So you really have to think about, it's not, I learn a lot of things from many other people, many other people, people doesn't mean, Japanese. People doesn't mean only Japanese. People doesn't mean only non-Japanese. People from, everyone. Every single person on this planet who do Kendo, I learn from them. It doesn't really matter. So only the difference is, like I said, on YouTube, you can broadcast anything, all right? And then we have to receive the information, and we have to figure out if it's true or not. So that was my number. I think back in old days when YouTube wasn't there, I think it was Google Video or something, and YouTube was becoming popular and popular. Probably that's what it was. And one of the reasons I made these videos at the very, very first time is I didn't have anywhere to go. There wasn't a dojo close to where I lived, and I couldn't find a dojo back then, and I wanted to share my knowledge. I really, really love Kendo, and I really have this idea of, what I learned from those great senseis shouldn't die with me. That's the number one thing. I started everything. Back in old days, I used to call my Google video channel, I think it was, Dojo to Go. But then now it's Kendo-Guide.com. So, but anyway, so that is number one thing. Like I learned Iaido from Alex Bennett and Hamish Robinson. So that they are my sensei. They're not Japanese, right? They don't sound Japanese. Their names don't sound Japanese. Hamish Robinson, and Alex Bennett. They were my Iaido teachers. And then, of course, when I went back to Japan, I went to learn Iaido from their sensei, which was the late Niwata sensei. I had known him for a long time because he was teaching Iaido at the dojo I went to when I was a kid. So we are kind of, we knew each other. So, but anyway, and I have a high respect to Stroud Sensei from Idaho. I learned a lot from him. We not only when I see him in person, but sometimes we exchange emails and stuff like that. So like I have a lot, of course, Japanese sensei too. Like, but it doesn't mean we really have to think that there are maybe Japanese sensei. They of course they have a lot of skills, right? But it doesn't mean it's I have to be careful, right? So Japanese sensei, of course, they don't have ability to express themselves in English. That's why we really have to appreciate that those non-Japanese sensei who has been learning from Japanese sensei, and then they share what they learned with us. That is really important for us, And then luckily I now speak English, not perfectly, but probably understandable. So I can share what I know and what I learned through those books and magazines in Japanese, and then turn them into English in my head, and then share those with you. That's why that's what I'm doing. So it's not because I'm Japanese, truly, because Alex Bennett Sensei has been doing that for a long time, and other people as well out there now, those who understand Japanese. Of course, culturally, right? Some things have to be not Japanese. You have to understand culture, right? So that's why those little meaning behind those Japanese words, because Japanese I'm very direct. So you have to find these, what's hidden meaning behind that. That is cultural. So if you don't know culture, it's really hard to understand. That is true. But it's true to any cultures, right? So it's not because being Japanese, it's understanding of the culture. It's not in DNA. It's environment. Now, like I said, Alex Bennett says because everyone knows about him, so I'm using his name a lot. But other people, there are tons of people, non-Japanese people living in Japan, and they act like Japanese more than I act like Japanese. So they know all the rules of Japan, traditional rules of Japan, and then they teach me how to drink tea at the tea ceremony. I learned it from a Canadian guy, right? So if you think about that, and Canadian guys are teaching tea ceremony to Japanese, because he has knowledge, he has skills, he understands the culture, and he acts like really tea guy, and he doesn't talk like a tea teacher, but he's a very funny guy. But anyway, so we really have to stop saying, non-Japanese can't do kendo, or non-Japanese can't do shunpan, which is not true. We all know that. And then, of course, if they say, I know kendo, and then it's they as in non-Japanese or Japanese. I'll teach you Kendo, and if they don't know anything about Kendo and then just start swinging some stick around, and then that's wrong. We have to say, this is not Kendo. And some people who don't know about Kendo, well, when I use Iaito is, a sword. It's a steel sword, steel-made sword used for Iaito. And so you cannot cut. It's not real sword. Iaito to teach Kendo. Oh, that's not Iaito. That's not Kendo. That's Iaito. No. Kendo was from there, So, a lot of people start separating everything, or just, I don't know what happened there. Because in the Kendo concept, the concept of Kendo it has specific term, katana, there. And then when I use a sword, even it's Iaito, it's it's a copy of katana, right? Imitation of a katana. They said, "Oh, that's not Kendo." Hold on a second, man. Have you forgotten about the concept of Kendo and where the Kendo came from? Do you know how to draw out your taito and nuketo? That's katana movements. If if Kendo didn't come from the samurai swordsmanship, we are not doing this. We wouldn't be doing this, but we do have those katana etiquette in Kendo. So why not use Iaito? Because it's easier. You can visualize. Oh, that's why we do this. That's why we do that. That's why we have these, criteria in even share regulations that we have monouchi. That's from katana, right? So everyone I don't want to make any differences between Iaito and Kendo. Of course, they are different, but historically, they were, the same. Of course, again, they are different now, so it's not completely the same, but we don't have to separate those completely, or I don't know what All Japan Kendo Federation is thinking. Are we going to take our own, Kendo will have to take its own way and then remove the concept of a katana part? I don't know, but as long as it's there, I think that's the right approach to beginners, especially, and then they know, we're not just whacking each other with a bamboo stick. So, anyway, this argument of non-Japanese and Japanese, because they're Japanese, they're good. Because they're non-Japanese, or they shouldn't be learning from them. That is completely rubbish. And only one thing you have to worry about is, are they really teaching Kendo? Do they really understand what they're doing? That's the most important thing, right? That's on everything. Like teacher at school. If your math teacher doesn't know how math works, and then you shouldn't be learning from them because they don't know what they're talking about, right? It's the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's, math people are like math teachers should be, nationalities doesn't matter, right? As long as you understand what they're talking. If they start talking to you in Japanese and you don't understand Japanese, it's pointless. But if you on the same you speak same language, but they don't know what they are talking about, and you won't be able to learn anything from them. So that's that. That's it. So again, skill-wise, knowledge-wise, non-Japanese, Japanese doesn't really matter. What matters is, do they really know Kendo? And then can they teach Kendo properly? That's it. And a lot of non-Japanese sensei out there can do it. There's a lot. And on the other hand, there are a lot of Japanese sensei who cannot teach Kendo. That's true too. As long as they learn Kendo, maybe they can kind of teach movements. But Kendo, again, involves a lot of teaching and stuff, right? So I know a lot of sensei learned Japanese, non-Japanese sensei learn Japanese and try to understand, Japanese books too. I mean, come on, man. So they have language barrier, so they have disadvantage, of course, but they are trying hard, and then through communication, through interpreter, they learn a lot from those senseis, just like us. So, we gotta stop talking about non-Japanese cannot teach Kendo. Non-Japanese, blah blah blah. Non-Japanese, it's not the era anymore. Kendo, anyone can teach, and then there are a lot of sensei, non-Japanese sensei who can teach Kendo very well. Period. I know that. I learned Kendo from a lot of non-Japanese sensei. I know that, and I have high respect to them. Period. So if someone says that, and I know if you practice true Kendo, I know what you know what I'm talking about, right? So please, if you see some of those things, just tell them that's not true. And if they don't do Kendo, they have no place to say that, right? So yeah, I just wanted to mention this. So everyone out there, if Japanese sensei say things like that, just ignore them. They don't even consider them as sensei if they say things like that. I don't think you're going to see these sensei if they come to your country to teach Kendo, right? But if you go to Japan, and then of course there are closed-minded people. You will encounter some of them, maybe. Hope not, but if you're unlucky, you might see those people. Just ignore them. You can't just talk to these people. You just humbly, just say, oh, okay, and then just ignore. You don't have to listen to them, right? Because you have this pure passion to learn Kendo, and then no one should mess with it. Okay, even Japanese sensei should mess with it. And most of Japanese sensei, if they're true Kendo sensei, they will accept you. They will accept your passion. So if they say, oh, you're not Japanese, you won't understand, they are rubbish. Ignore them, all right? Okay, thank you for listening, and I hope I will survive this weekend, and I want to talk about a summer camp soon after the camp this weekend. And if you're a member at Patreon, you're going to listen to this on Monday the 29th, maybe, or 30th, around there. And if you're not a member, this will be should be published 1 week after that. So maybe you're listening this in August. So it's a long, But anyway, so thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next podcast. I would like to send special thanks to patrons for their constant support through patreons.com/Kendo For Life.